intellectual performance, which this job has pushed me to do, to be intellectually performative, it tires me a great deal. Because I had to study really hard to be able to stand here and make sense. I had to practice English, I had to write Italian, read a lot of... It's really work, and it's conscious work. I mean, it's not spontaneous, at least a bit. I really had to prepare to come here and perform, because, you know, and it's extremely intimidating. But so for me, just finally to get with people, you know, and relate at a different level, and learn from them, on top of everything, because I'm actually teaching. So for me, it's just, man, it's what I want. It's really what I want. And so I have an affinity. I'm drawn to people who actually learn from things from experience, which is a beautiful thing. Is that they learn it on their own skin. They can read it anywhere. And that's why when I got there, you know, I met a bull rider, and then all of a sudden, I was involved in the bull riding scene. I sponsored a bull rider. I never jumped on a bull. I'm not saying about being a bull rider, no way. But I was fascinating. I learned how to shoot. I don't have a gun, but I learned how to shoot. I mean, somebody teaching me what it means to go at night, sit 2 hours in a Texas forest and listen to animals, and then you turn on the flashlight, and what sounded like a bear is actually a raccoon or a mouse. You know, all of that learning to respect nature, all things I don't do. Sofa is much better, but my sofa, I repeat, I go back there with this Freudian-esque, you know, sofa. But that's the point. The point is, there's something very primordial, and that I like, that I still like. You kind of miss that part of me. But I know it sounds like a little romantic, but it's true though, because I need to keep that part alive. Otherwise I go insane if only the performance in me, the performer exists. I'm just gonna go lose my mind, because what cinema's done to me has also pushed me to become a performer. And I can't sustain living in the performance realm. So I'm really drawn to people who say, you know what, I take the app, or the whatever, the book read off, man, and let's get down to some other stuff, and that's sanity. Or at least the combination of the two is sanity.
Regarding, you use a very, very interesting word here, drawn to. I think there is a sensation of closeness that permeates your body of work, and it's also a closeness that you achieve by portraying sometimes very intimate moments in the characters' lives. For example, sex scenes, or for example, very meaningful discussions that are held within the family, and very intimate indoor Kammerspiel-like scenes. And at the same time, you also achieve it by visual means, by always being very, very close to the characters. And how do you gain this close access? How do you work with the characters until you achieve the precise moment where this closeness isn't sort of a deterrent?
I never plan, although in the beginning, of course, everything is step by step, but I never really planned something else, like to be distant. So it was really not a choice. I'd rather see a project or a particular relationship die out than to step back, retrieve, and change the way I want to work. The films are the positive outcome of something that worked out just fine for both of us, and these are the people who were engaged, with me and with the closeness, and they felt protected, nurtured, and all that, and me too. All the stories, and even a lot of the stories, and all the 4 or 5 films that are not featured, there's so many failure stories where I was unable to sustain that closeness, that intimacy, or they didn't want to have it anymore. There's so many. I mean, but it's never been, for me, it's never been really an option. I wouldn't know how to function and how to film otherwise. Even as a human being, I wouldn't be able to function without becoming very open, honest, and intimate. It would be, again, something that would drive me insane, because I really need to be open. It's again, I talk about needing, so I'm drawn to people out of need too, and that's a good start from loving, functional relationship, a need. And also, yeah, I don't know, that's pretty much why I do it. So how I achieve it, I don't know. If I were to film right now, and I already talked about this, and I could probably I'll find someone who's willing to try and go through this with me, and I would get close with the camera, and that's how I really achieve it. There's no secret to it, except for the fact that I truly believe in what I'm saying, and I truly care, and I make films, and they watch it, and these are a testament of what I do and how I do it. And of course, my characters, or the people of the film, they watch my films and they think, you know, I want to be a part of it. I want to welcome your camera near me. So yeah, this is how I go by it. But it's never been an option, like something, kind of a. There's never been an alternative, strategy of aesthetics that I planned. I mean, I never even thought of that in the beginning, aesthetic. Then it became something that I do, and I do a lot. I've done it 5 times in 8 years, and now it's become some sort of something I'm very, very familiar with. So I know the form now. I'm mastered, okay, quote unquote, the form. So I know the outcome, but it's never meant to be like that. It's meant to be just a way for me to work and to get close. And I need it. I need it that way, and I'm okay if people don't want to do it.
Final question I would ask before turning the microphone towards the audience again is the tendency that I've noticed in regards to your work as it progresses. Not only does it get increasingly political, as I've also said earlier, but another interesting facet for me is that you start from fiction films. Of course, fiction films which are informed, let's say, by a neo-realistic Rossellinian way of filmmaking, where you do fictions with characters who are actually part of the situations, with non-professional actors, with shaky cameras, with a very neo-realistic kind of approach, and you shake away fictionalization slowly as you progress through your work and achieve this documentary form, which for me is also interesting as a precedent, because usually it goes the other way around with most filmmakers. And are the two needs correlated? Renouncing fictionalization and concentrating on a more political form?
No, I think not really, not consciously. I think it's and I was talking to a friend, Carlos, and right now I was talking to a friend, a colleague of mine, about the the importance of not forgetting, because especially, for example, here in Bucharest, I haven't mentioned cinema as an art form, what I do as an art form ever, not even one time. But the truth is, I must not forget that in the end, there's also something, the infrastructure here, that whatever I do is within a context of something that is an art form, a form of expression. And I, like, as a wannabe artist, I want to choose new forms and ways of expressing and communicating stories. So that includes new aesthetics and approaches, and in the beginning, and that is also experiential, not something that I read somewhere, or I didn't do it by watching or emulation of some of my the heroes, which they're not even the near-realist, although I appreciate them, but those are not the ones who form me at all. And I come from more of an experimental tradition completely. But the first time, so I don't have much experience, I wrote a screenplay, and but then I wanted to, as I got to meet people, because it was a road trip, I got to meet people, and I really wanted to. I was drawn to the stories, to them. Again, I'm going back to them. I was drawn to them, and I felt that their stories were way better than what I had just written. So I started, fearfully stitching parts of the script and letting their stories into it. So became co-writing. And that progressed, and then I took courage. I had more experience until one day, when I shot the third film, I just didn't write anything. And I went through that, it was hell. It It was awful. It was absolutely awful. I cried every other day because it's like I'm inept. I don't know how to do anything, and I can never finish. And then, as I said it many times, almost like a tantra. When I have this huge crisis, that is a good thing for me because I understand that I'm onto something. So I was having some massive crises. I said, okay, well, there's something, but what is this about? That you want to innovate, that you're scared of innovation, but of course, fear and innovation go hand in hand. That's what I did. Now I'm already thinking of how to continue, because after this film, I have to be honest, without false modesty, some people are saying, oh, they can documentaries, and they can no one else, and all that. And I was like, wait a second, please keep doing what you do. I say, I get it, but I want to continue to explore new forms of telling similar stories. I'm interested. I'm drawn to real life people, but not only though. And I like the way I'm filming, but not only. In this film, there's not a single. I haven't changed the way I shoot, but there isn't a single. There are just a few camera movements. The first one, the camera movements, is featured in the cut. And I don't like, I didn't want them. So I planned, that I told the editors, like camera movements, like cutting, and you don't, but then we couldn't avoid it a couple of times. So there is an evolution, there's a need for me to also remind myself, I'm also trying to, to use, I want to be a little bit of an artist too. Yeah, thank you, yeah. No, but that's the point. It's just sometimes I am forgetting that I'm actually, art is inherently political, at certain degrees. And I remember I'm drawn to politics through art, though, and so yeah. So I don't know where this will lead me to. What I can tell you right now is, apart from being really tired, because I'm dealing with a lot, this film, I'm dealing with a lot of stuff. I'm still have the people from the second film, in my life. It's very intense. I mean, it's very, very intense. Yeah, very intense. But also, I'm kind of, I don't know, I need to reflect what I want to do. I really want to go somewhere else. But I'm really scared. So what am I going to do? They're all of a sudden like, oh, and they're fiction, and people's like, what happened to the great documentary? And we don't like you. We reject you. You're ugly. And then I scared. But again, I'm so scared that maybe I'm onto something. So maybe I'll do fiction. And I've been flirting with the idea. You know what? I'm so terrified of fiction right now. I'm so terrified because I'm so comfortable with this medium that maybe it's time to do it. And as I'm saying it, I'm sweating. Because the fear is that strong, but fear is a good thing. Because I listen to fear much more than listen to the act of bravery or to all that.